So with Glorious Glo Hands, the next scene that we're going to be working on is going to be a little difficult because it's dialogue heavy. It's a scene where Catch, who's based on a character I wrote in a novel called Catch 22 Lady, a novel that I wrote called Chin, that is published, self-published novel. Also wrote, or I'm in the process of writing a sequel called Chin 2, like Chin. Chin. Now that is published. Chin 1 is published. Chin 2, I'm still working on. Looked at it the other day. I'm at 70-something pages on Chin 2. The original Chin was a novel or novella. I looked up novel and found out that 300 pages can be considered as a novel. And it is published under Ash Cole. Remember, I have a pen name. Now, that's going to be under Fiction Press. I don't think it's under fan fiction. It is under fictionpress.com. So it's published if you go to Ash Cole. Now, I'm taking that character from the novel and inserting Catch into a different role. Okay? So I'm borrowing from something I had already created for the sake of just putting her there. Now, I think Thomas Wolfe, he used Eugene. I don't know if he used Eugene in a different story. I think he may have. I've heard rumors about it. But it has been done by Kitty Fringe when she took Eugene Gant from Look Homeward Angel and placed her into the play. I'm sorry, placed him. Eugene was treated, well, Thomas Wolfe was treated kind of like a female. He was dressed up like a little girl and stuff like that when he was younger. But Eugene Gant was taken from the Look Homeward Angel novel and placed into a play called Look Homeward Angel. So Look Homeward Angel was never intended to be a play, but Kitty Fringe adapted Eugene, just stuck him right into a play, and it was a great play. It was done on Broadway by Anthony Perkins, the guy who played Norman Bates in Hitchcock's Psycho. So he actually played Eugene Gant in Look Homeward Angel, the play that was put upon Broadway. It was a huge play. It was a huge thing, and Anthony Perkins was in it. Now, so I'm doing this with Catch. I'm placing her in a play, or you could say screenplay. I don't know, YouTube play, teleplay. I've heard of teleplay before. Twin Peaks was a teleplay that David Lynch did. So it was actually Twin Peaks. Now I don't know if David Lynch does that with characters. I don't know. I know there has been some adaptation that David Lynch has adapted. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he did that with Nicolas Cage in a movie that he did, and I believe he may have been behind the script, called Wild. Something Wild. I always like to call it Born to be Wild, but it's not called that. But it does have the word wild in it. And Cash's character is wild. She's a wild character. But she has the ability to detect spilt blood. Okay? From a murder victim. So she can walk right into a room and she'll start speaking in tongues. That means that there's been spilt blood from a murder victim in the past, or current. It can be up to 100 years or more. Okay, so she can go over to where Abraham Lincoln was murdered and then she'll just start speaking in tongues because she reacts like a needle on an album or record player. Think of that, like a needle going down on a record player, and it just starts happening, right? And she starts speaking in tongues, and then Colt, who I play, I cast myself as that role. he can immediately start doing his scientific research. He's a chemist, a past chemist, very strange character. This is a very unique character. He's done Hollywood stuff, background work. We're talking about like he's gone out there with his guitar, playing things at, coffee shops, and gone all around the world playing stuff in coffee shops. He likes music. He does all this artsy stuff, but he's decided to go into the CSI and help not only other people that are missing or cold cases, but he works side by side with Catch, okay, which is a woman. Now, they are not police, they are not detectives, they are not your average criminal science investigators, but they use science and the supernatural to solve these type of cold cases they come across. The constellations on the wall is another thing that opens up. So things open up for them, and they can investigate and find these missing people or these these past murders that have not been solved through this very strange supernatural way. Okay, it starts with Catch speaking in tongues. It moves into Colt using what is known as, it's like luminol. He invented it because he's also a chemist. Okay, what it is it's called Glo Hands. He sells it like an info commercial. And Glo Hands, or Glorious Glo Hands, he can spray it, man, and it works good, better than luminol. And it'll turn pink if it's a female blood of human. It'll turn blue if it's a male blood from a male. There's pink and there's blue. Okay, he programmed, or he constructed this chemical. I wouldn't say program is not the thing. He experimented with this chemical so that it would glow. It glows. Now, it glows a different color if it's animal blood. Okay, probably like a darkish color. It does not come off as pink. It does not come off as blue. But he can use it, and it can detect blood up to more than 100 years in the past. So he can go over to where Abraham Lincoln was shot and spray this luminol, which is called Glo Hands, and man, it'll just turn bright blue, just very, very blue all over the place. It'll just glow blue. He does have some psychic powers. This is Colt. He does have a military connection. His father was a big military guy, connected with Vietnam, special ops, all this stuff, Army. His grandfather was Navy in World War II, big time espionage, almost like a spy. Worked off of a aircraft carrier or something like that. Okay. So the connection with the military is from his father and his grandfather, but he never joined the military. He was going to be a Marine, maybe even a Marine helicopter pilot with a buddy. He was going to go into the Marines as a buddy on a buddy system, because you can do that in the Marines. You can go in with a friend. Something happened artistically in his life, and he went off into theater arts, and his friend went off into the military and then was killed in overseas. Now, Colt does communicate with supernatural at times. He sometimes dreams it, and he also can play music, and the lyrics will come out to help them with the case, the cold case. So he can play a song, and all of a sudden certain lyrics will happen, and he'll be able to help with the cold case that they're working on. Catch can dream where the people are at times. So she can go to sleep, and she'll dream and see them in the dream and stuff. Okay? So it happens to her. this thing, it begins to shake inside of her, and she'll go into this dream. The wall is important because he saw it in a way, and he knew that the constellations were going to help him with birth dates. So in their victims, they can see a pattern in a wall. It can be their wall or almost another wall that they come across. It's almost like this other world can communicate with them. And in the pattern, there is something in the wall that shows the constellation, okay? So it can be these little holes and all kinds of stuff. And in that constellation will represent a birthday. Now this can be done with a computer because I've seen it done. There's programs. If they can find something in the stars, it'll relate directly to a birthday. Now whether that turns into GPS and can locate the body, I don't know yet. It's in development. But I do know it has to do with Jane Doe's birthday. Whether we get beyond Jane Doe, I don't know. Now, Colt thinks her name could be Sky Climber, also known as Star. It's kind of hippie name. Kind of like a pseudonym name or something that she went by. They don't know if that's her real name or if it's actually like a code name or a pseudonym, like a username or something. The murderer, they don't have the details on, but it all came from a cigarette butt in a Walmart parking lot where Catch began to do her thing. She began to act very strange and eventually speak in tongues. And on the end of that cigarette butt, there was some evidence. And when he sprayed the luminol, or the Glorious Glo Hands, he sprayed it on it, it turned pink. That's what they pretty much wrote Jane Doe. Now they ran that into a database. They sent it off and ran it into a database to get information on, if it was actual really blood. It's kind of like a test thing, like an experiment. And it came up yes. So the pink actually came up and it really was blood. So the connection was there, to the other world. So, he goes, the lab results came back and it's a Jane Doe, meaning it's a female blood. So they work in this thing and she knows where this spilt blood was, and she found it in a parking lot. He knows to begin the investigation. Because remember, when she responds, when the needle goes off, like on the record, he knows it's about murder because of how when she speaks in tongues. They can do this kind of stuff. So it's CSI, you can almost say criminal supernatural investigation, but you can also say that it's criminal science because he uses the luminol. So it's an investigation. It's like a show, like an investigation show.